Okay, here we have a couple of 919s. Mike, what year's yours? 202 and an 07. We wanted to do some powder coating, and so we're taking off some parts and pieces. What we've done on mine, we're going to show you how to do on his, so we can kind of document it. So far we've taken off the complete rear wheel assembly, including the swing arm and the brackets that it mounts to. Pretty much the whole back end is off of the bike. We're going to show you how to do that on his as well, and show you what parts we're actually going to get powder coated, and show you what it looks like when we put it all back together. We'll make a couple videos in between to show you some of the steps and how we did it, and we'll go from there. Okay, real quick, we wanted to show you how we actually got these up on just some regular jack stands. We got these at Harbor Freight for 20 bucks. We got a piece of 1/2 inch rebar and fit it through the holes for the jack stand, or the bike stand, which isn't installed. Slide that through. We were able to lift the bike up on those jack stands, and they work just fine. I put a zip tie up on the front brake to keep it on, make sure it's not going to go anywhere, and it's pretty sturdy. It's not going anywhere. Okay, as you can see, we've taken off the rear cowl, disconnected the lights, and the seat, of course. Next thing we're going to do is take off the rear sets. There's just 2 bolts on each side. We do have to take off the gear selector linkage, and then we're also going to take off these brackets after we remove the swing arm, but we'll show you how to do that when we get there. So first things is the rear sets. He doesn't have a tire hugger on his, but I did have to take mine off on mine, and that came after the rear sets. Okay, we got a little ahead of ourselves since we were moving so fast, but we took the rear wheel off and the swing arm. The metric sizes that you're going to need is a 22 and a 27 millimeter, preferably socket set. They're easier to get to. The 22 is on the left hand side, 27 is on the right, and that applies to both the tire and the swing arm bolt, which is this bolt right here, which goes in right there. Pretty sticky, we had to hammer it out, so might need some grease, or WD-40 might help a little bit. The next steps that we're going to do, now we've got the tire off, we're going to take these brackets off here. We've already removed the airbox covers, and we took that bolt off for the swing arm too. There is some on this side on the rear sets which we didn't capture. The right rear set has the brake connected to it, so you have to take off some bolts there. You don't have to undo your brake lines, just the mounting bolts. Okay, one last thing we wanted to mention, as we're taking the bikes apart, we're taking little baggies, marking them with the parts. So this one's the right swing arm bracket, left swing arm bracket. So we keep the nuts and bolts together, so we know when we get the parts back from the powder coater, we know where they go. One other thing I wanted to show you was I took the gas cap off mine, and I'm going to get this powder coated as well. I'll let you know, but I know there's a hinge on this, on let's see, on this side right here, if you can see that. There's a little cotter pin in there, and I don't know how the devil I'm going to get that out of there, but that will come off. If I don't need to take that off, maybe I can remove the lock assembly and leave the lid on. So this just the lock where the rubber piece is, and this will come off right here, so that I can get the rest powder coated. Okay, just one more video update. We're preparing the parts for powder coating. If you don't know how it works, they have to heat the part up, so you don't want anything plastic or rubber or anything that can't or will melt. So for example, on the swing arm here, you've got your bearings inside of there, which we're just going to get some big washers and cover the bearings, but we're going to get all the grease out so it doesn't leak anywhere when it's getting baked. But there's some rubber gaskets on the outside. You've got to pound those out or tap them out with a screwdriver. They're kind of stiff, but they come out. The stickers are on here. I just used some heavy-duty silicone spray. Careful, it will ruin your finish on your paint, but it won't hurt aluminum. Just use that with a razor blade and just scrape it off. So any other parts that we have, like on the rear sets and stuff, where the foot pegs are at, we're going to have to take off anything rubber, anything that we don't want to have powder coated. We've got to prep all the parts. So just a note on that, before you do that, you'll have to remember where everything goes, and again, putting everything, like all the bearings and everything, in the little bags helps out quite a bit. Okay, just to give you guys one last update before we get done with this video. While we have both bikes torn apart, we're going to do some usual maintenance, clean and lube the chain, clean any parts that are kind of hard to get to with the tire hugger or even the rear tire on. Clean it up as best we can, get them ready to put back together. Just to show you a list of some of the stuff, or the boxes here are parts that we're going to send off to get powder coated. Both swing arms, rear sets, some headlight covers and whatnot. I am going to do the gas tank cover. He's going to leave his alone, but I did take mine apart. Just a note, you take all these out and the whole thing comes apart. Underneath there's a rubber gasket. The way to take that apart, or to get the lock to drop out of the bottom, you can pull this rubber gasket off, just off the top, just pry it off with a screwdriver. But underneath, you're going to have to lift around the bottom of that rubber gasket, and you'll see a washer that you've got to remove, and then underneath that there's 3 screws, and that's how you get that apart. It took me a bit to figure it out, and I read up online on how to do that. So we'll give you guys another update when we're done getting everything back. We'll get a video of all the parts before we put them on, and then take a couple of videos as we're putting everything back together.